So, got a wonderful idea for a video from a guy named Aaron. And cool enough, he lives in Australia and is in the woodworking industry. So, he was talking to me about chipper blades and talking to me about how to remove a burr. So, was talking to him for a hot minute and decided, okay, let's make a video on this. And I'm going to go edge leading versus edge trailing. Edge leading is basically the abrasive moving towards you and into the edge of what you're doing. So basically it would be kind of like, okay, edge is going that way, and it would be coming towards it, which I personally don't like for a few reasons. One, it takes off more material. So if you want to go quick, great, but it can be catastrophic very quickly. Second is, okay, let's say you're sharpening and you have it coming towards you, that accidentally slips. Where's it going? It's coming right back at you, which, for me, don't want to deal with it. So I'm always going to do edge trailing, which brings up the question of, okay, how do you remove a burr? Because edge leading removes that burr pretty darn good throughout the process. Edge trailing, however, creates a burr. And what that is, let's say you're sharpening this side, a wire edge will roll up on that back side, and more towards the honing process, you have to tease it off. Or, in this case, I'm going to show you a few tricks of how I remove a wire edge, or some tricks, just to get it a little easier. Because teasing it back and forth and back and forth and back and forth, it's tedious and it takes forever. We don't got time for that. So, some of the ways that I found, one is if you're using, say, a ceramic rod or something along those lines, you can basically press it up and into the edge. So you're going up and in, just slow up and in. As opposed to running straight along, you're going up into it. So more or less, you're acting like edge leading with a really fine abrasive. So like a ceramic or a honing rod. So like 1,000 grit plus is what you're wanting to look for in that case. Another way, but it doesn't remove the burr nearly as quick, but it's what I use currently, is either running it through a 2x4 or cork. Cork is my primary one just because I like it. I've been finding 2x4s to be kind of useful though. So basically how you'd go about that is you take whatever you're using to cut, or let's say you set it on a bench, you'd run the piece of wood on it. So in his case, these blades are probably the length of his forearm, maybe a little bit longer. They're pretty good sized blades. So what I would do in that situation, let's say this is the blade you're setting down, I would take the board and run it along that edge. So what that does is it will shear off the burr that's established. It may take a few times, and it may still need a little bit more teasing as far as like on leather or on a honing rod. But by far, I get the most consistent results either out of a 2x4 or out of cork. I used to do the ceramic where I would do a pass on each side. Knocks off the burr stupendously quick. But it's not as reliable and not as consistent for an edge is what I found. So it's the reason why I changed to doing what I do now. It takes a little bit longer, but it's better than back and forth and back and forth. So it would be back and forth and back and forth, and you're just teasing that burr to each side. And then eventually, it just pops right off as little flakes, or even you'll sometimes get a little wire that basically comes off, thusly wire edge. But that's how I go about removing a burr, and my thought process on edge leading versus edge trailing. I will always do edge trailing just because I don't mind if it takes a little bit longer. I get very consistent results, and for me, it's a lot safer. If I find an edge leading that is safer, might try it. But at the same time, I really like edge trailing. It just works for me, and hopefully that shares some knowledge. And thank you again, Aaron. I'm hoping this helps, and if you have any further questions, just hit me up.